The dividend payout ratio, a dividend investing strategy. You are interested in Realty Income Corporation, but you're scared because you see the payout ratio and it's 231%. Like when you went on a date with that one person who was your ideal mate on the surface level, but you found out they hate dogs and they put pineapples on their pizza. Is this a red flag? Clearly, yes. However, when it comes to Realty Income Corporation, the 231% number that you see is not accurate. Their actual payout ratio is a lot lower. Maybe we should take a step back because not everyone knows what a payout ratio is. The payout ratio is a really important metric a dividend investor needs to understand. By the time this video is over, you will walk away knowing what a payout ratio is with confidence and pick your nose a few times to get that annoying booger out of the way. Honestly, there's nothing worse than a booger blocking your breathing capabilities than perhaps a pebble in your shoe. I have a question for you. What is the primary objective of a company? Look at you being so smart. That's right. The mission of a publicly traded company is to be profitable through their products or services, and by doing so, giving a healthy and sweet return on investment for the shareholders. Now, when a company makes profit from their business operations, for the most part, there's two paths the profits can take. The profits can go towards the retained earnings or be paid out as dividends. Retained earnings are the profit the company uses to reinvest back into the business to grow, to do R&D, to scale, to buy back shares, to hire more staff, to expand, and to become better. Like how you wanted to invest in yourself by learning a new language, and you've been using the Duolingo app for almost a year, and you still can't say a single sentence in Mandarin. And then, of course, the profits can be given as a cash reward to the shareholders in the form of a dividend. Okay, so how does the dividend, a form of profit, relate to the payout ratio? First of all, calm your man boobs down. I was just about to get there. I will turn this car around if you keep acting up. We will not go to Chuck E. Cheese today, young man. Jokes aside, what is the payout ratio? The payout ratio is a key financial metric us dividend investors use to determine the sustainability of a company's dividend payments. It is the amount of dividends paid to shareholders relative to the total net income of a company. In other words, the percentage of profit that is paid out as dividends. There's two ways to get the same numbers of a payout ratio. The first method is you take the total dividends paid out divided by the net income, and that's going to give you the payout ratio. The second way is to take the dividend per share and dividing that by the basic earnings per share, not the diluted, but the basic earnings per share, and that's also going to give you the payout ratio. The payout ratio usually ranges from 0 to 100%, though occasionally it can be a negative number when a dividend-paying company experiences negative net income. A 0% payout ratio means the company isn't giving any of its profits to the shareholders, which means a zero dividend. A 10% payout ratio is low, and a low payout ratio can signal that the company is reinvesting the bulk of its earnings into expanding operations. When you think about Apple, Microsoft, or Nvidia, their payout ratio is low because they are still growing their businesses. A 100% payout ratio means the company is giving all of its profits to the shareholders as dividends. The lower the number, the better it is as a rule of thumb, because it means the dividend is sustainable going forward as they grow the dividend. Let's see if you've been paying attention, because I know that was a lot to take in. If the payout ratio is near or at 99%, do you think the dividend will grow going forward? Is the dividend sustainable and affordable for the company? Correct. You earned yourself another sticker for the day. The company will most likely not be able to continue to pay a 99% payout ratio dividend unless the company can increase its revenue and its profits. As for the ideal payout ratio, it depends on what industry the company is in. A good rule of thumb is to compare the payout ratio number to that of its peers. If it's much higher than its peers, then it's no bueno, and probably needs to take a urinalysis test. If you are anything like me, you enjoy your steak medium well, and you learn best from examples. Case in point, let's take a look at Texas Roadhouse, one of my most favorite places to eat out at. And that's because you don't have to break the wallet to have a nice meal there, and the food actually tastes genuinely good. So Texas Roadhouse currently has a 1.83% dividend yield, and annually they pay out $2.20 in dividends. The earnings per share is currently at $4.34. To figure out the payout ratio, we are going to divide the dividends paid out by the earnings per share. share, which gives us a 50.69% dividend payout ratio, which means Texas Roadhouse is currently paying out 50% of its profits to the shareholders in dividends and using the other 50% to grow the business. Looks like the math is mathing because we got the correct payout ratio, as you can see on your screen. If you are a visual learning type of person, then this slide is for you. Say you are a watermelon farmer, and at the end of the season, you were able to grow and harvest 4 watermelons. If you give all 4 watermelons away to the community, that's a 100% payout ratio. You did not keep any watermelons yourself to advertise with, to experiment making watermelon dishes, to replant the watermelon seeds. You get the point. And by the way, watermelons are the best fruit in the world. Please tell me otherwise. Not only do they taste delicious, but can you imagine if someone were to break into your home, instead of grabbing that baseball bat, you pick up a 20-pound watermelon and you just chuck it at them? Jokes aside, the good news is you almost never have to run these formulas by yourself because it's automated by the payout ratio whenever you look at a stock's dividend profile. It's good to know though, right? Like how Nick Saban retiring from Alabama is going to lead to a flood of 4-star talent in the transfer portal, and you can run all the forecasts and calculations you want. It won't matter because none of them will transfer to the team that you support. It's already automated. They're going to join other big name programs, most likely. Nobody asked for this, but let's go ahead and talk about how a company pays for a dividend if it's above a 100% payout ratio. Now, this is only referring to companies that are not a REIT, BDC, or a closed-end fund. Pretend with me that the dividend payout ratio for Texas Roadhouse gets above 100%. Where does the cash come from to pay for those dividends? This cash comes from the retained earnings or cash already on the balance sheet. And worst case scenario, if the company is a dividend king or a dividend aristocrat and they want to keep their streak alive, but they're going through a rough patch, they will take on debt and take out loans in order to finance the dividend. This is not a pretty picture, just like the Mona Lisa that you see on the right. Kind of like when you were going through puberty and you got your first pimple and it so happened to be on the day of the school yearbook photos. You freaked out at the time for no reason. Hopefully now you understand why investors take the dividend payout ratio into consideration when evaluating a stock, because it's important. When it comes to dividend growth investing, some of us chase the dividend yield, get burned really badly, learn our lesson, and then chase the next high yield dividend stock to get burned again. What I'm trying to tell you is, no matter how juicy the dividend yield is, if the payout ratio is absurd, do not touch it. Resist the urge. This is not financial advice. Like if you've ever gone on a diet before, the hardest temptations are the foods you must avoid, like sugary drinks that taste so delicious and snacks that are infested with sodium. Why does everything that is unhealthy for us have to taste so darn good? Life can be cruel sometimes, my friends.
Okay, buddy, you're talking a lot. Why do so many people like Realty Income Corporation if their payout ratio is 231%?
Well, let's answer this question. Now, for a REIT like Realty Income Corporation, we cannot judge it by GAAP metrics. And when I say GAAP, I'm not referring to the clothing brand, but rather it stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Now, when it comes to REITs, we need to evaluate the sustainability of its dividend by the AFFO, which stands for the Adjusted Funds from Operations. Because remember, REITs are legally required to pay 90% of their taxable income to shareholders to be classified as a REIT. The AFFO, in a simple way, can be thought of as the cash flow of the business operations. So if you judge Realty Income Corporation by that 231% payout ratio, you are incorrect, sir. Like drinking your first beer, which was actually root beer, and pretending to be drunk so that you could look cool in front of your buddies. You are wrong. Similar to a normal company, there is actually a formula that helps us to calculate the payout ratio for REITs like Realty Income Corporation. The payout ratio for a REIT is total dividends paid out annually divided by the AFFO per share. Let's see what this looks like with Realty Income Corporation. So Realty Income currently pays out $3.07 annually as their dividend. And with that number, we are going to divide it by the AFFO per share, which is $3.99. This gives us a payout ratio of 77.1%. Likewise, instead of the PE ratio, to see if a REIT stock is trading for a premium multiple, you would look at the price to AFFO instead. And for Realty Income Corporation right now, that's a 12.3 multiple. So you can think of it as like a 12.3 PE ratio. Depending on the context, it decides what is acceptable or not. Kind of like letting a fudge bubble rip when you're on the road by yourself, and then how you have to hold it in when you're with company because you want to be polite and respect their breathing space. If it's a normal normal company, you can go ahead and use the normal payout ratio method. If it's a REIT, like Realty Income Corporation, well, now you know how to calculate the true dividend payout ratio. So in conclusion, the 231% payout ratio number you see for Realty Income Corporation, that's incorrect. That's the payout ratio if you use GAAP metrics like for normal companies. And unfortunately, almost every website uses the wrong payout ratio for REITs. So this is one of those things where it's wise to know how to do a manual calculation. With that said, I hope you learned a thing or two. Dividend Compounders with Cheese signing off. Stay safe, everyone.